Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to another discussion. Now, last week, we had this sweeping news across the internet that Star Wars was not going to be at EA Play. However, we did get something really exciting that both Nick and I have been really jazzed about out of EA Play, and that is Battlefield 2042's new Portal game mode. If you haven't seen the new trailer, I'm sure you have. It was just an absolute cluster storm.
What did you say?
Of all sorts of shenanigans, including defibrillator fights, anywhere from, putting C4 on ATVs, crashing them into Ospreys. It had just everything that you could imagine and everything that you could hope for out of a Battlefield experience. And we kind of stopped for a second and thought about what this could mean for Battlefront 3 down the line, or at least what Battlefront 3 could learn from the success, or at least the social media buzz around this Battlefield 2042 Portals game mode trailer. And we thought it'd be a really interesting discussion. So, without further ado, Nick, you ready to get in this one?
Cluster storm?
Alright, Nick, so I just want to start off by kind of talking about why we are excited about this Portal game mode. I guess what kind of got you excited about this whole demonstration?
What got me excited about Battlefield Portals? It just looks like a lot of fun, to be honest with you. It was very, very nostalgic. Watching that trailer just reminded me of all the good old days of playing Battlefield with my friends and just doing all of the ridiculous stuff that you could do in that game that wasn't supposed to, it wasn't supposed to be like that. It wasn't meant to be like that, but that was just like the nature of the game. Like launching the ATV with C4 at the Osprey. Like I remember we used to like put C4 on the front of our helicopter and crash it in the objectives, stuff like that. And, the defibrillators versus the knives, just a lot of ridiculous stuff. And I don't know, it just looked like so much fun. That is a word that I keep using to describe what Battlefield Portals looks like. It's just fun, it's nostalgic, it's exciting, it's unique. Combining all of their different games with Battlefield 1942 and Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 and all of their hit games, and just taking elements from all that and like classic maps is what it looks like, because it looked like a lot of familiar maps, and just taking all of these elements and just letting the player kind of design their own dream Battlefield game is just a great concept, and it just looks like a ton of fun for you to do with your friends. And when it was first announced, it kind of looked like it was maybe its own standalone game. I thought they were maybe doing like two Battlefield things, but the fact that it's just a game mode within Battlefield 2042, which on its own already looks like it's going to be incredibly fun, it's really exciting. It's the most excited I've been for an EA game in quite a while, to be honest with you, just because of like the nature of EA games like we've talked about, where it's really just been like Madden and FIFA what they've been focusing on. So it's nice to see something else for once. I know it's Battlefield, so it's not really anything new, but it feels new because it's something different for once. This is probably the most excited I've been about an EA game since Battlefront 2 in 2017. So I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, I guess to really just answer your question again, what has me excited about it is it's fun and it's nostalgic.
Yeah, I think like when I was looking through Twitter after this whole trailer released, a lot of people were echoing exactly what you were saying, especially using the word fun. Just this thing looks like it's a lot of fun. And you make a really great point with, EA in recent years, especially when you look at those yearly releases like the Madden and the FIFA, the focus of those games has really been around grinding, like that grinding, firsthand, Nick, like that's not always fun, like to do those like when they steered towards like foot champs or hut champs or like more competitive online game modes. they weren't exactly built for fun.
It's not fun
so
at
to
all.
speak.
Like, it's not fun at all. Like,
They're-
straight up,
yeah.
it is not fun. It is rage-inducing. It's frustrating. It's not fun. Like, those modes are miserable.
Like, there is a direct correlation for me with, I used to enjoy FIFA like a lot. As you guys know, I love soccer, and I loved playing FIFA until they brought FUT Champions. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's just kind of like a ultra competitive game mode that you need to play if you want to make any sort of progress with your team. And when they started requiring that to actually get to the fun players, I kind of just like my interest dropped. I'm just like not looking for a stressful gaming experience. I'm looking for a fun gaming experience. And if DICE is going to be the forerunner of fun for EA and really show the rest of the company, like, this is how we're going to make games, people are going to be excited when we're just creating fun game modes that are really a love letter to what makes this brand special. Those like moments that you were talking about, Nick, where like you used to put C4 on your ATVs and just like rush objectives with them. I know, like, me and my friends did all sorts of stupid shit in Battlefield 3, where we would do everything you could imagine with C4 in that game. And they've kind of just like taken the culture of the game and then put it at the forefront of this game mode. And to kind of like steer this discussion towards where I want to go with Battlefront 3. Battlefront 3, of course, hasn't been confirmed, but everybody kind of has a feeling like that's the next thing for DICE. And so I think what we've seen from 2042, I at least hope that that's kind of going to be the direction that they take Battlefield 3 in, or Battlefront 3 in. I really do hope that they just try to make a fun game that like has fun modes, that is a love letter to the kind of deep history of Battlefront. I know Battlefront is new to EA, but I mean, you and I, Nick, like, we've been playing Battlefront for like, since how old were we when we first got our hands on the first Battlefront?
They're pretty old. They're pretty old.
Like, we've kind of played we've played Battlefront our whole lives, and there is a deep culture of Battlefront, and I think they can really tap into something that's a lot of fun. I know I have a ton of ideas for game modes. I don't know if there's anything that you would love to see come back in Battlefront 3 that's just pure fun, Nick.
Well, I mean, I think it's the one mode that everyone has been wanting since they remade Battlefront in 2015. And if you want to talk about a love letter, which you keep calling it, which is actually what EA and Battlefield themselves called it in the original tweet. They basically said a love letter to you, the Battlefield fans, which is just basically hearkening on those nostalgic feelings and fun feelings of yesteryear with those game modes and those games. And DICE needs to do the same thing if they make another Battlefront. I think the way to do that is bringing back Galactic Conquest. It's the most popular mode in perhaps any Star Wars game in the history of Star Wars games. I mean, Battlefront is Galactic Conquest. Galactic Conquest is Battlefront. And I think there are a lot of unique ways that you could take the nostalgia of Galactic Conquest, put it into a modern game, and just make it better. Make it a multiplayer thing, something you can do with your friends. Get a squad together, play through Galactic Conquest, do an online Galactic Conquest. Do something similar to, I know Elder Scrolls Online did this. I haven't played that game in a while, so I don't know if they still do this, but there was this mode where basically it was like a war of attrition. It was kind of like a conquest where you would it would last a certain amount of days, and basically you would be on a team. So you would either be like Empire or the Rebels, you'd be something like that, and you'd fight skirmishes, and at the end of the time frame for the season or the window of time that the game had established, there would be a winner announced. So you could do something similar with a Galactic Conquest. You put out this map, bunch of different planets. Each day is like a different skirmish on a different planet where you just have a bunch of games. You have a bunch of, servers running the same map. And then at the end of the day, you tally up which side did the best based off of what side you're on. So If more Rebels won that day or more Imperials won that day, they win that skirmish overall. So then they get to advance and do stuff like that. Other games have done that. A lot of PC games have done this. I think For Honor did something similar to this a few years ago. So it's something that's out there that exists, and something that I think definitely could be used to take Galactic Conquest into that modern online era, because that's kind of what we're in these days.
Yeah, it definitely does have to adapt, but it has to have that same like classic feel of Galactic Conquest, and I think that would definitely be a great way of doing that. For me, other than Galactic Conquest, the modes that I used to love as a kid were those like crazy hunt modes with like Wampas or Jawas, or and they kind of tried to do that with Ewok Hunt recently, but like that was kind of like they tried to make it like a horror game, kind of, where like it's all dark and tense. I think if they kind of like recaptured the silly nature of like, one team of like people controlling Wampas, and then one team of like people controlling like some other crazy animal, like imagine being able to control like a Rancor or something like that, and then just like duking it out. That would be super fun to me. Or an Order 66 game mode where you would have like one team of Jedi and then one team of clone troopers, and then like the clone troopers have to like hunt down the Jedi, and whenever you die as a Jedi, you might like spawn as a clone trooper, and then whoever is like the last Jedi standing wins, or something like that. Obviously would have to be on Coruscant at the Jedi Temple, because that was kind of the one thing that everybody was starving for by the end of Battlefront 2. Everybody, I know you and I really just wanted to see a Coruscant in some way, shape, or form in the game. But I think there are so many things and so many ideas that this studio can come up with to just make Battlefront 3 a fun time and just a refreshing experience. And you know what? I kind of think they were kind of getting there with Battlefront 2 toward like the tail end. They were kind of trying to hit at the nostalgia factor by like, introducing that new game mode. What is it, Conquest?
Oh, Supremacy with the
or Supremacy?
With
yeah,
Supremacy with the yeah, I get what you're saying with the
the capital ships
and the checkpoints. I can't think of the name of them right now for some reason.
Yeah. But those like checkpoints you guys know what we're talking about.
I don't know why I can't think of those right now.
Those were like the same as like they literally looked the same from the old Battlefront games. So they were really trying to get at that. Now imagine if they started with that like from day one, instead of trying to make, like a predatory like loot box simulator like they did at the beginning. Imagine if they started from square one trying to make a fun game mode that, really holds true to the heart of the game. I think they could really come up with something that's just a joy to play with, because at the end of the day, like, we love Battlefront because it's kind of like a sandbox of Star Wars that you and your friends can just go in and just have a great time. Like, that's what I looked forward to playing Battlefront with, you and Chris all the time, is that we would just, screw around in Star Wars every night. And that was just a great, like, fun time. And I just miss that. Like, I want it back.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point with that Supremacy mode. When that was announced with that kind of nostalgia around it, people were really excited about that in the community. That was a very exciting announcement, and I think even DICE was really excited about it. It was something they had been wanting to do for a long time in the game, and they were really happy that they were able to do it. And, I just want to put some context into this video for those of you who might be wondering, what does Battlefield and Battlefield Portals have anything to do with Battlefront? Like, how are we making this connection? Well, for those of you who don't know, and I have a feeling that a lot of you do know this, that DICE is the common denominator between the two games. DICE, the team at DICE, stopped working on Battlefront 2's live service to go work on Battlefield 2042. They're directly connected with their development teams. So watching this Battlefield Portals trailer got me a little jealous as a Star Wars fan. I'm extremely excited because I love Battlefield, but as a Star Wars fan, I was pretty jealous watching that trailer. I was like, man, I really, really wish we would have gotten something like this in Battlefront 2, and man, I really, really hope DICE turns around and makes Battlefront 3 so we can get something like this in Star Wars. So that's kind of where this connection comes from. This is why we're kind of bridging Battlefield 2042 and a hopeful Battlefront 3 down the road. I just wanted to kind of make that connection for people in case they didn't know, because man, I hope this is something that happens. And it proves that DICE is capable and willing to play into the nostalgia and the fun that people have kind of been asking for with the Star Wars and the Battlefront IP. Like you said, they kind of got there a little bit with the Supremacy, but I know a lot of people for a long time were asking for them to add something like a Galactic Conquest to Battlefront 2, and they just weren't able to do it. So, all right, DICE, you're willing to play on that nostalgia. You're willing to play on that fun vibe that everyone wants. Let's see it in Star Wars.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is just such fertile ground to just make a super fun game that is just like, it's got a fair share of like anything from the wackiness to the sheer scale. I mean, even aside from that Portal trailer, you know the gameplay demo that they had earlier, that was just like that city in the desert. Mm-hmm. I forget where they showed that off.
That was
at
was that at E3?
I think that was
E3.
Yeah, that was
the
the
Xbox's
E3
conference at E3.
Yes. So like that gameplay demo showed off the sheer scale of this game. If Battlefront 3 has anywhere the scale that this Battlefield 2042 has, I think that is worthy enough reason to see a brand new Battlefront game built on next-gen architecture, really pushing next-gen, and backed by a philosophy of fun from a DICE team that is ready to take risks and just make a damn fun game for this Star Wars community to enjoy. Because the Star Wars gaming community deserves just a big hug right now from any dev team, because it's been so shit this whole year. Like, it has been tragically horrendous.
We need a hero.
As a Star Wars gaming fan. We need a hero. Cue the song.
Can't do that, copyright.
Yeah, no, can't. I mean, you can do it for like 5 seconds. That said,
I will
guys,
say one thing. I don't want this to delve into a conversation because we're going to get out of here. But we all know, I think we all know what Battlefront 3 has to do. And it has to do what the original quote-unquote Battlefront 3 was going to do with those ground to space. Seamless transitions and battles.
Yes.
Like, so, I mean, if DICE is honestly going to sit down and do Battlefront 3, they have a big, tall order to pull off, because you gotta get that nostalgia of the old games. You gotta be able to do this seamless transition like the old Battlefront 3 was going to do, because people are going to compare that alpha gameplay from the old Battlefront 3 to the new Battlefront 3, because it's the same damn thing they did with Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 was directly compared to the OG Battlefront 2, just like Battlefront 1 2015 was compared to the OG Battlefront 1. There's always going to be a comparison between these two. So, tall order. That's all I'm going to say. They have a lot to pull off with this if they do it.
They really do. And I mean, one of the reasons why I personally am so excited about the Skywalker Saga, whenever the hell that comes out, is because it's an open world where you have ground to space. And it's because there's a whole generation of, people like Nick and I who were kids when we were promised this Battlefront 3 like demo with the ground to space, and it's been the forbidden fruit that we all just want. We want to play it. We want to see it.
We've been
and it
talking
hasn't
about
been in
ground
a
to
single
space for a long time.
It hasn't been in a single freaking game. And it just, like, if I were a dev, I would put my big boy pants on. I would set the goal, like, ground to space has to be in this game. Will not leave the studio until it's done right. and then I would tackle it, grab the bull by the horns, and just do it. Anyway, it's enough for my rant
Battlefront
about
3
ground to space.
needs to
I
be
just want
nostalgic. It needs to be fun, and there is a lot that DICE can learn from Battlefield 2042 and its Portals mode. I think that is the gist of this whole conversation.
Yes. And the final gist of this conversation is we really wanted to make this video to open the floor to you all and provide a forum for you all to just go wild in the comments and just give us your craziest ideas of what you all want to see in Battlefront 3. And also, please let us know if you're excited about this Battlefield 2042 Portals game mode and the new trailer that released at EA Play. Please let us know in the comments. We would just love to see what you all come up with. And who knows, if enough of you come up with crazy ideas, we might just survey a few of them and make another video about it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please do feel free to join and listen to Lunar Squadron. All you gotta do is hit that small little red subscribe button and the bell notification button right on next to it. It's going to let you know every single time that Nick and I upload. You're going to want to stay in the know on the latest and greatest Star Wars video game content out there. At least we think so, or at least my mother tells me it is.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways,
your mom watches
thank
your
you all.
videos? I'm just kidding. My mom's going to kill me for that.
Hi, Mom. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.